Former logistics head loses his civic honor over the water procurement scandal, with 3 officers found to have underperformed. Hongkongers brace for a cold spell as temperatures may drop to 11 degrees tomorrow morning. And an explosion at a Chinese restaurant in Afghanistan kills at least 7 people, including a Chinese national. Good evening, you're watching Cable News. I'm Evan Bai. The government has withdrawn plans to grant a leading civic honor to the retired Director of Government Logistics, Carson Chan, after an investigation into last year's bottled water procurement scandal found the performance of 3 officers in his department had fallen short of expectations. Jeremy Zhu has more.
The investigation found no flaws in the reporting mechanism under Chan's leadership, noting he was receptive to reports from subordinates. No direct negligence was identified. However, Chan should have done more to strengthen his staff's capabilities, awareness, and initiative, according to Secretary for the Civil Service Ingrid Yeung.
This procurement of drinking water incident has drawn extensive attention from the public and brought serious disrepute to the government. In this light, after consulting the honors and unofficial justices of the Peace Selection Committee, the government has decided to reverse the previously announced decision to award the Silver Bohemia Star to Mr. Chan, and Mr. Chan has been informed.
Yeung blamed the saga on colleagues lacking the vigilance, judgment, and analytical skills expected for their rank and experience, which led to the failure of spotting the need to report the incident, adding that such shortcomings were widespread across the department. She added this was not a punishment, but a retraction of a reward. The investigation found 3 serving officers underperformed. 2 will face formal disciplinary proceedings, including 1 directorate officer. The 3rd has received a written warning. His performance report will also mark his lack of vigilance in this incident. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
At the same time, the government has proposed financial vetting for contracts of high-value goods worth over $15 million and the use of artificial intelligence as part of measures to improve its procurement system. Jamie Liu reports.
In its report, the task force reviewing the procurement regime identified 3 levels of factors it believes contributed to the bottled water incident. At the human level, the task force found that procurement officers were not sensitive enough to fraudulent acts in vetting tenders and managing contracts. At the institutional level, the existing regime lacks explicit standards on due diligence, such as conducting checks on tenderers' track record. At the organizational level, staff training is needed to heighten alertness to potential fraud, as the lack of vigilance was found across different ranks. In light of these, the task force identified 4 main areas of improvement,
including in terms of the mechanism to deal with the assessment and also the contract management of tendering. At the same time, to look into technology to make sure that there will be wider circulation of information within the government.
The proposed measures include introducing financial vetting to goods contracts worth $50 million or more to better protect the government's interest. The authorities will update its tendering terms and conditions to allow determination of contract on grounds of public interest. Another suggestion is to develop a government-wide AI tool to help collect information on tenderers and contractors from online open sources. For future bottled water procurement, the government will accept bids only from suppliers or manufacturers, not intermediaries like trading companies. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
Today marks the beginning of severe cold, the final of the 24 Chinese solar terms. The cold weather warning is in place as an intense winter monsoon is sweeping into the city, while northerly winds will probably drop the mercury to as low as 11 degrees in the urban areas tomorrow through Friday. Hongkongers woke up to slightly windier, cooler conditions this morning, but the real cold had yet to set in. The observatory said the strengthening winter monsoon is gradually affecting the coast of southern China. As the easterly winds turn into northerlies, the mercury would fall more noticeably. Wednesday to Friday will see the coldest period this week. It will be mainly cloudy and persistently cold, with minimum temperatures of around 11 to 12 degrees. Over the weekend, temperatures will edge up slightly, though mornings will remain cool. Cars with problems like fuel leaks or loose wheel boats could face license suspension and need to undergo an official inspection costing nearly $600 under the government's new vehicle inspection rule. A notice was put up at a vehicle inspection center to remind drivers about the new arrangements that came into effect yesterday. If a car undergoing checks is found with one of the 13 faulty issues, including brake failure, fuel leakage, and frame damage, it may be deemed as a dangerous vehicle. If confirmed by the Transport Department, the vehicle could face license suspension and be barred from hitting the road. After maintenance, it must then undergo another inspection at the official vehicle examination complex in Qingyi, costing $585, twice the fee charged at other designated centers. The department said the new measure would ensure road users' safety more effectively. A tourist helicopter has crashed near Mount Aso in southwest Japan, with 3 people, including a Taiwanese couple, feared missing in the remote volcanic terrain. Rescue teams are racing against worsening weather over Kumamoto Prefecture's active volcano, with the Coast Guard mobilizing drones and ground crews, but fog and gusts are severely limiting the search around the summit crater. The aircraft was carrying a 64-year-old male pilot and 2 Taiwanese passengers, a 41-year-old male and a 36-year-old female, on a popular 10-minute scenic flight when it vanished from radar midday and failed to return on schedule. Fire officials report receiving a crash detection alert from one passenger's smartphone, suggesting a possible impact in the remote volcanic zone. The chopper had flown 2 prior circuits without issues, while the veteran pilot had more than 40 years of flying experience. The death toll from a Chinese restaurant explosion in Afghanistan has risen to 7, with more than 10 people injured. Among the victims are 2 Chinese citizens, 1 killed and 1 seriously wounded. The extremist group Islamic State has claimed responsibility for the attack. Jeremy Zhu reports.
Online footage shows debris scattered across the street after the blast, with thick smoke rising into the air. The Lanzhou beef noodle restaurant, located in the Afghan capital Kabul, was struck by an explosion shortly after 3 p.m. on Monday. Flames were seen inside the eatery, and its signage was destroyed by the force of the blast. Police say the restaurant was jointly operated by a Chinese Muslim couple and an Afghan partner, catering mainly to the Chinese Muslim community. The explosion occurred near the kitchen area, resulting in multiple casualties. A foreign aid organization reported that hospitals received 20 injured people, including women and children. Some were already dead on arrival. The Afghan branch of the Islamic State issued a statement admitting to planning the suicide bombing. It claimed that due to the Chinese government's escalating crimes against Uyghur Muslims, Chinese citizens have been placed on its list of attack targets. The Chinese embassy in Afghanistan has reiterated its warning against travel to the country. It advised Chinese nationals and businesses already there to follow local laws, respect religious customs, stay alert to security risks, enhance safety precautions, and avoid crowded venues such as hotels, religious sites, and shopping centers. Jeremy Zhu, Cable News.
United States President Donald Trump has declined to rule out using force to seize Greenland, vowing to follow through on his terror threats against European countries. Leaders in Europe are hoping they can meet Trump at the upcoming World Economic Forum in Switzerland to defuse the tensions. Jamie Liu reports.
In an interview with NBC News, Trump was asked if he would consider the use of force to acquire the self-ruling Danish territory, and he replied no comment. He vowed to 100% follow through on his threat to impose a 10% import tax on 8 European nations, including Britain, France, Germany, and Denmark. Meanwhile, Denmark's top diplomat Lars Løkke Rasmussen travelled to Britain to meet his UK counterpart Yvette Cooper and issued a forceful rebuke against Trump's terror threats.
And we are living in 2026 where you can trade with people, but you can't trade people.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer called Trump's plan to slap tariffs on European allies completely wrong and called for calm discussion. Politico reported that European leaders hope to get the ball rolling at the World Economic Forum in Davos to find a diplomatic solution. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said he would try to meet Trump at the forum. Norway's Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Støre has changed his schedule to overlap with the U.S. President's planned appearance at the event. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
Italian fashion legend Valentino Garavani, the man who painted fashion red, has died at his home in Rome at the age of 93. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni hailed him as the eternal symbol of haute couture of the country. Jamie Liu has more on the life of the high-end fashion emperor.
I still really motivated because I love my job very, very much.
Popularly known by his first name, Valentino was famous for his red dresses in a rich scarlet shade that became his signature color to the extent that it was known within the industry as Valentino Red. He later wrote that a woman in red was, to him, the perfect image of a heroine. Born in the northern town of Voghera, Italy, in 1932, he moved to Paris at the age of 17 and learned his trade in the haute couture ateliers there before founding his own line in Rome in 1959. In 1960, he met his longtime business partner and life partner, Giancarlo Giacometti. Together, the pair turned Valentino into an internationally recognized brand. One of Valentino's first famous customers was Oscar-winning actress Elizabeth Taylor and late U.S. First Lady Jackie Kennedy, who wore a Valentino gown to wed Greek shipping giant Aristotle Onassis in 1968. His romantic silhouettes, flowing chiffon gowns, and painstaking hand-finished details have attracted many glamorous customers, including the late Princess Diana and many other royal members, and his creation also featured regularly on the red carpet. Over the decades, he received some of fashion's highest honors before officially retiring from the runway in 2008. He peacefully passed away today at his residence in Rome, surrounded by the love of his family, according to his foundation. Jamie Liu, Cable News.
Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez declared 3 days of national mourning following a devastating train collision that killed at least 40 people. Initial investigations pointed to a broken joint that created a gap on the track that widened as trains passed. Rescue crews continued to work around the clock to search the wreckage at the crash site, where a train departing Malaga for Madrid derailed and collided with an oncoming train late on Sunday. Heavy machinery was deployed earlier to lift the most severely damaged train carriages and gave rescuers better access to the crash site.
Es un día de dolor para toda España.
Sanchez described the day as painful for Spain, vowing to get to the bottom of why the two high-speed trains collided. He cancelled his trip to the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, after the incident. Reuters reported that experts found a faulty joint on the rails, which created a gap between the rail sections that expanded as trains continued to travel on the track. Hong Kong's jobless rate held steady at 3.8% over the past 3 months, while the underemployment rate slightly ticked up 0.1 percentage point to 1.7%. According to the Census and Statistics Department, the number of unemployed persons fell by around 6,200 to 138,200 in the October to December period. Over the same period, the number of underemployed persons increased by around 3,900 to 64,800. Secretary for Labor and Welfare Chris Sun said the sustained economic growth and the improvement in local consumption sentiment should help stabilize the labor market. Nonetheless, the employment situations in some sectors may continue to be affected by their challenging business conditions. Now let's take a look at the stock market. The Hang Seng Index ended the day down 76 points. Top active stocks of the day. Tencent was down $9, Alibaba was down 70 cents. Xiaomi was down $1, SMIC was down $2.50. On to the weather now. Mainly cloudy and persistently cold in the following couple of days. The minimum temperature will be about 11 to 12 degrees in the urban areas, with relatively small rise in the temperatures during the day. That's our news tonight. I'm FNBI. Thank you for watching and good night.